ask you this. Everybody talks about, has their own version of what fundamentals are. In your view, what is fundamentals? I mean, what are the basics that people just have to get solid on, no matter what company they're involved in?
It's never changed in the 33 years that I've been with the business. The fundamentals are getting in front of people. You have got to get in front of people to share this product and business. And how you do that through the internet, one-on-one groups, it doesn't matter. You've got to tell the story. So fundamentally is learning, becoming passionate and have a strong belief about your product, your business, your profession, especially your profession. And that's why I love the fact that all of us as leaders in the profession have united. I think technology has helped us unite. You know, we used to circle the wagons and shoot each other.
Yeah, I know.
Now we're all supporting each other because we love this profession and we want to protect that profession. So your belief, and we're going to talk about women more later, but especially for women, believing in yourself. You know, you've got to believe in yourself. You've got to be confident to go out there. You know, most people are so used to trading hours for dollars that they don't understand this whole concept of I've got to build it, you know, I've got to build the foundation before these rock star checks happen. And we live in such an impatient world, you know, and so people have to manage their expectations. But fundamentals to me is when I see someone getting out of momentum or starting to go into that downward spiral with their attitude, generally I ask them about their calendar. Tell me what you got happening, and they will give me every excuse in the world. And as soon as you start hearing blaming, justifying, and excuses, you know that they're not in activity. So activity is king, but doing the right activity too is important.
So really, it's just what we keep talking about is talk to people, talk to people, talk to people, right? The fundamentals, you got to keep talking to people. If somebody's falling out of momentum, pull out their calendar. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about whatever fear they've got. That's
usually fear.
Yeah, that's keeping them in avoidance behavior, so they're not talking to people, or they think they have whatever limiting belief that they have, that, you know, they don't know anybody, nobody will listen to me, you know, I don't have the time, you don't understand, I have kids, I have this,
right?
You know, my job is a lot of pressure, and all the things that everybody in the world has to deal with every single day. Talk about momentum. You mentioned momentum in that. You know, when somebody's falling out of momentum, talk about all the different aspects of momentum, because I love the topic of momentum, and I think it's an important aspect of what we do.
Momentum is huge, and you know, I really believe in building long-term sustainable businesses. Obviously, we want to build the business that lasts and that you can actually have residual walk-away income. I mean, I really believe in building leaders and creating independent people versus codependent people. So that helps build the sustainability, and then momentum comes in waves. And the longer I've been in this profession, the more I am understanding that, because I think people get really down on themselves when they start comparing themselves to maybe a new group that's just on fire, and they go, well, what's wrong with me? But what happens, your momentum goes in waves. Your first initial momentum is the most important. So that ignorance on fire, get out there and create it. That is really, really important. And then what's going to happen is you'll go through times where maybe it's not as intense, but then you have to recreate that momentum. And what I've discovered is that it's an absolute choice. You just have to decide, we're going in momentum, and you just fire everyone up. And I just got back from a world tour, stopped in New York for that filming, but then went to Scotland, UK, and Canada. And we've got a lot of momentum in these markets. And I could just see the excitement. And here's what momentum looks like. When you are so on fire about your product and company, it's kind of like when you first fall in love, you know. Yep. You just, when you talk to people, instead of them scratching their head and thinking, oh, well, I don't know, I've got this or I've got that. You know what they're thinking? Oh my gosh, if I don't do this, I'm going to miss out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what momentum looks like. And so I came back home and I shared with my team that, you know, my pioneers, some of the people that have been around for a while, and I just shared this with them. And I said, you guys, momentum comes in phases, and you have to decide that you want to get back on momentum and just go and do it. Charge the hill. And one of my leaders back in Wisconsin did it. Last month, she said, okay, guys, we're going in momentum. We're going first step. We're going to get that car. And she did it. So it's just a choice. And momentum, you can feel momentum. It's an energy. There's so much activity. And then when you're not in momentum, you can feel that too. So you just have to ask yourself right now, is my business in momentum? And if it's not, you can decide right now to put it back in momentum. And that's what I love about this business.
So a couple things on momentum. So one is, if you're not in momentum and you're feeling maybe even neutral or negative momentum, you need to take a look at the calendar. One, to see if you're going through the behaviors, doing the actions that are necessary to be able to have success. And then two is make the decision. And if you just make the decision and tell the world we're going into momentum, and you can transfer that belief to people, is what you're saying.
Right, but I think the step before looking at your calendar is take a look in the mirror. What's going on? Where's your belief? You know, I have a beautiful home here in Arizona. I've got a fabulous log cabin on a lake in Wisconsin that I spend my summers. I've got a little resort in Jamaica. I'm building a beautiful home on a hillside outside of Negril. The fastest runner in the world from Jamaica, what's his name, Bolt?
Yeah.
He's going to be one of my neighbors, so I can go running with him and see the back of his feet. You know, you gotta, you know, I could just get really, really comfortable and say, you know, hey, have a nice life. But I am so passionate right now about my business because I know I have a purpose.